Hello! And welcome. Hello, Dusti. Welcome to another installment of A Ghostly Encounter Live, aka Ghost Stories with the Ghost Guides. This is, I think, our 6th one. Yeah, number 6, something like that. So I, as you all know, am your ghost tour guide. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just a ghost guide. See, I'm missing the ghost tours already. I'm your ghost guide, Renee, and of course we have our other ghost guide here with us. This is Dusti. Say hello, Dusti.
Hello,
yes,
Dusti.
Hello. Hello, Dusti. Now, just a recap on last episode, if you missed it, shame on you. You have to watch all of our episodes. But a recap on our last episode, we talked about Elizabeth Bathory, who has been called the Blood Countess. We talked about vampires, and I'm talking people that have died, and then people claim that their ghosts were sucking their blood and killing them. Crazy stuff there. And our local story was the Love Tree Cottage. So we have a lot of good stuff in store for you tonight. We're going to be talking about deals with the devil. We're going to be talking about haunted paintings and art. And lastly, we're going to be talking about the Florida machete massacre that happened in St. Augustine, Florida in 1974. So this is going to be a really fun episode. I hope that you guys will stick around and watch us. We're a hoot, as the folks say. We're going to get into our... Who? I thought you were making a joke because hoot and who. Told you, we're just a hoot. So our haunted happenings for tonight, again, if you don't know what a haunted happening is, this is your personal experiences. This is viewers that have sent us their own ghostly sightings and whatnot. Please, it doesn't have to be from St. Augustine.
Your creepy happenings that have happened.
Your creepy happenings that have happened. They can happen from when you were a child. I know Dusti's mom sent one for next week, just a teaser, that, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but it was from when she was a child, right, in her home in Montana. So if you had a similar experience, if you lived in a haunted home when you were 13, we don't care. We don't care how old you are. Just send it in, right? So our first haunted happening tonight is from Nicole P. And she says, Dusti. She said, I had something paranormal happen to me in St. Augustine. Well, a lot of times, but this is the first apparition I ever saw. It was 2014 on a cool January night, and I was studying all day and well into the night in my college dorm room. This person went to Flagler. I know who this is. And after a while, I felt like I needed to go for a walk to clear my mind and get some fresh air. It was maybe 9 p.m. I walk all the way down to the Castillo de San Marcos, all the way up the hill, and I find a nice bench to sit on and enjoy the moonlight and the water. I am sitting not far from the front of the fort. So she's talking like right where the ranger station is. Mind you, it's closed and no one is there or around me. It's a very quiet night. As I'm staring out over the water, I can't help but feel eyes on me, coming from the old fort behind me. I turn around and my stomach drops. I see the ghost of a soldier. He was white and basically transparent with a uniform and a hat that covered his eyes. He looked like he came straight out of the 1500s. He had a mustache and appeared to be Hispanic. He stared at me expressionless for what seemed like an eternity. I turned to look away, and when I looked back to where he was standing, he was gone. It was as if he was stuck in time, watching over the distance in search of enemies coming towards his fort. That was the first apparition I ever saw. So, first off, this is a really cool story because people see soldiers at the fort all the time. But also, if I saw a soldier staring at me, I can tell you right now I would not look away. I don't know about you, Dusti. If I saw a soldier staring at me, clearly a ghost, and I would be screaming. I would be getting up and, one, probably taking pictures or video, and then I'd run away.
No,
but
you wouldn't.
I would run for the hills. Are you kidding me?
You would run. You wouldn't stop to take pictures.
You're right. I
No.
probably wouldn't. But she actually she leaves him be and looks away. And when she looked back, he claimed he wasn't there. That's freaky. I would never do that. But good for you, Nicole
I
P.
don't.
So we're going to move on to our next haunted happening, which is from Matt T. This is also a St. Augustine local who sent this in. And Matt says, I was walking down St. George Street late at night with a friend, and it must have been a weeknight because there was really nobody else on the streets. She and I both believed in spirits but hadn't had any direct encounters. Once we walked the whole way down, we got to the city gates. I don't remember exactly why, but we were looking in between the wooden bars at the bottom of the pillars. So he's talking about, if you've ever been to the city gates in St. Augustine, there's like these little cubbyways on the sides of the gates, and that's where like the gatekeeper or whatnot and the soldiers would hang out to get away from the shade. So that's where he's looking.
To get away from the shade?
To get nope, to get away from the sun, not to get away from the shade. Yeah. Once we walked the whole way down, we got to the city. Oh wait, I already read that. Sorry. But once we looked far enough, we both simultaneously felt from feeling fine to feeling very sick in our stomachs. So we ran across the street but didn't go too far. We ended up recovering just standing next to the Huguenot cemetery. I don't think either.
Wait. They ran away from the ghost and relaxed in the cemetery?
I thought that was strange as well. I was like, if I saw a ghost again,
I'm not going to the cemetery.
And probably crying after that. Yeah, but I mean, I guess technically they didn't see the ghost. They just felt that feeling, that impending doom feeling that a lot of people claim to feel when they come into contact with spirits.
If you're in the house, you don't go up the stairs, you go out the door. You don't go
You're right.
to the cemetery.
You're right. This is logical. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
so
Matt. I don't know.
Matt's gonna like send me a message. You guys. I don't think either of us actually saw something, but it took at least 5 minutes before we felt okay enough to walk home. I gotta tell you, I'm with you, Dusty. I would have walked home immediately. I don't care. First of all, the feeling you get when you look through those little cubbyways anyway is just, I'm always thinking that I might see someone look back. So it always freaks me out. This last one is from Nikki A, and Nikki is from Daytona. She says, okay, so before we moved to Florida in about 2016, we went to Mansfield Prison, aka Ohio Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. Very haunted prison. Shawshank Redemption was filmed there. Air Force One and Ghost Adventures had also been filmed there. Anyways, they let you do a self-guided tour, and me and my husband went ourselves. We were really interested in going into the cell that the man was burned to death in the 3rd tier. Well, this couple went first and came out with the man claiming to have open bleeding scratches on his arm, which, not going to lie, I thought was a bunch of baloney. So we strolled through his cell and could feel the hairs standing up on our arms. Just a creepy, eerie feeling. Well, we finish our tour, go to the gift shop, and my husband and the cashier noticed a full-on handprint across my face. I didn't feel it happen, and I'm hoping I can go back on my Facebook and find the picture we took. I'll send it to you and some other photos. This way you can show it on the stream. So this might be one that we have to update. I still have not heard back from Nancy with her haunted house in New Mexico either, but this one, I think Nicole will send this in and let us see a picture of the hand mark that she had on her face. Now, I'll tell you what, with spirits that like to be a little handsy, I've come into how do I explain this? I've had an experience with that. There was that one time, Dusty, that I swear I was pushed out the door at the Love Tree Cottage. I was spraying holy water at something that we thought was negative, and it was like, you cannot stay here. Get out of here. And I swear, something pushed me out the door. Like, I was standing on 2 feet. I'm a clumsy person, yes, but generally if you're standing on 2 feet, sure, you could lose your balance, but you generally don't go flying out the door. I don't know. It was just super strange. The other time there was a 13-year-old girl on my tour, and this was on TripAdvisor. The family actually like wrote in and said that they had a great time, but this happened. The little girl and her like older sister were in the kitchen where MOM hangs out a lot. And all of a sudden she comes out and she's itching her wrist. She had like a sweatshirt on. She's itching her wrists. And she said, man, I just don't understand. I have like a bug bite or something. And she pulled up her sleeve and she had a giant claw mark on her arm. So I don't think that she clawed herself. She was just scratching in the one general area. Dusty yells at me when I say itching too many times. So I'll have to make sure.
You don't itch and itch, you scratch and itch.
Sure, whatever. Dusty, what do you think about our haunted happenings? Any input on that last one?
On the last one?
Or any in general?
Well, I've already given my input on the other one. I don't know.
Fair. All right.
Personally, I believe it because I've experienced MOM as well as you have.
Right.
And yeah, I should be friends with whatever pushed you out the house. I mean, if you walked around spraying me with water too, I'd probably kick you out.
Big on. Yeah, that was a poor choice on my behalf. By the way, MOM, if you forgot from last stream, is mean old man. That's what we called him. He was like a shadow person that hung out in there.
That wasn't
was not
a
very nice.
stutter. That was last stream.
Yes, the last stream. It might have been a stutter. I don't know. Anyway, we're moving into our first story for tonight. Now. Yes. That was, thank you, Jim, for playing some soulful music.
Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
Yes, he was looking for a soul to steal.
He played that?
Now, he played that.
Like he got his banjo out and
I was going to say, Jim is not like sitting in the back like playing a banjo right now. But he played that because we're going to be talking about deals with the devil. And Dusty's going to tell you all about these soul-telling stories and celebrities, some of them, that may have sold their soul to the devil. So go ahead, Dusty. Take it away.
Soul-telling stories.
Right? That was good. What can I say?
What?
You got a little splotchy. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm good. I'm back. Cool stories. Also called Faustian bargains. Did I say that right, Renee? Faustian stories. Yes. Bargains. And because it is based. Yes. Bargains. I got it. Because it is based off of a Dr. Johann Faust, who was an astrologer and an alchemist. And he was a relatively smart and successful man. However, he became dissatisfied with mastering everything that he's mastered, and he wanted more. So he begged the devil for extreme power and knowledge in exchange for his soul. And he enjoys this for several years. But eventually becomes scared of what would happen to his eternal soul. And wanted to revoke his pact, but the devil ended up, calming him down and reassuring him and reaffirming the pact, kept it in place. And he actually, sorry?
No, continue. I'm agreeing with you. You have to
okay.
Remember, I know all of this.
Nah, all right. Well, yeah, he actually ended up living for 24 years like that. It was 24 years is a long time for selling your soul to the devil. But they say that there was an explosion was heard from his room, and all that was left was just pieces of himself. And I know you said something about his dog or his friend, that if you want to.
Yeah, so his friend, like years after, like I think it was something like 8 years after he died, talked with like a newspaper or a reporter or something, and said, a journalist, and said that before he died, they had dinner, and Faust brought a strange looking chicken over, like a cooked chicken, and he claimed that he caught Faust, because Faust would always walk with a dog or a horse and a dog. He would ride on a horse and have a dog following him, and he claimed that one time that he saw the dog shapeshift into a human servant. And he confronted Faust about it, and Faust was like, oh, you have bad eyes, my friend. You must be getting old. You don't know what you're talking about. But he was convinced that he had sold his soul to the devil, and what he was seeing was the devil. Or the devil, I think they called the demon Mephistopheles, right?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mephistopheles? Whatever. I'll let you tell them that bit.
Yeah. Clearly that man needed glasses if he saw a dog shapeshift into a man, because
that's crazy.
he's,
But
maybe he
hey,
was
I'm not
epileptic. I think he was
discounting it.
epileptic.
That's
No.
what the old medicine would have said. You start seeing strange things. You claim that you're talking with the devil. You might have a demon in you. They immediately just say you're epileptic for whatever reason.
Epilepsy, of course.
Yes,
yeah.
That must be it.
Yeah. But that's where the Faustian comes from, because he's supposedly one of the first to sell his soul to the devils, at least that we're aware of. But it became the subject of a lot of great works of literature, some of which nobody, probably, they're very old, but some of which we know today, and several people, even in modern times, still have been rumored to have sold their soul to the devil. So it's not anything that's over and done with, but we'll get to all that. But there is an Elizabethan, I think, playwright, Christopher Marlowe, and he has a very famous play, The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus, in which Faust, again, mastered all of the subjects of study, but he wanted more, and so he summons the demon Mephistopheles. There. Yeah, Mephistopheles.
Mr.
And requests Mephistopheles.
We're professionals.
And requests power, yes. Requests power. As well as, and this is actually what you were talking about, he requests that Mephistopheles, who was a demon, it wasn't even the devil, it was a demon, servant of the devil, what he wanted him as his personal servant as well, in exchange for his eternal soul.
Right.
Faust is challenged by the demon, and his tricks. He played a lot of tricks and refused to answer a lot of the questions directly. There was a lot of indirect statements and answers that he would give, a lot of jokes on him.
He's the devil. Why not?
Faust,
or he's a demon.
No, it was a demon. It wasn't the devil. However, the devil got called on him several times because Faust misbehaved a lot, according to his pact. But yeah, eventually, Faust, he ultimately accomplishes nothing. He went in with this attitude of being able to do whatever he wanted and accomplish everything, and he ended up not doing anything with it. He wasted all of his opportunity basically on practical jokes and demonstrations. Demonstrations.
That's good.
Demonstrations to the nobility. To nobility. So, and he ended it in this one. He actually again ends up wanting to revoke his pact, and tries to warn everybody about godlessness and about repentance. But he still ends up getting dominated by the devil and going straight to heck. Renee, he goes to heck.
Goes straight to heck.
His darned soul. Yes. But there's also PG. Again there's PG, straight to heck. And then there's also Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Why is everybody named Johann? Is
that's a popular name? I don't know.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's Faust as well, which was a famous work. Even stories like, you probably heard of Oscar Wilde, I think, The Picture of Dorian Gray, where his painting. Yeah, even stories like that kind of have a Faustian origin.
Vibe. Sure.
Vibes. Okay, vibes. But yeah, it pretty much is a morality tale in a Protestant heavy region of what's now Germany, which is why everybody's name is Johann. Everybody's named Johann.
Of course.
A warning about godlessness, of course. And where Faust reasoned, here we go, I wrote this down, devil might not be so black as they used to paint him, nor heck so hot as the people say. But in the end, he was very wrong and joined the sinners in heck.
Yeah.
wishing for death, but that death will flee from him. So
wow.
Yeah, it was a tale they would also use to scare people into
being more religious. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, okay.
Then we do get to famous people that have supposedly sold their souls to the devil.
Sure.
Made Faustian bargains. And there's one, I'm going to start back. This is like the 17th century.
Ugh,
Surprisingly, a
this
lot of
guy.
people. Right? Hold on. There's
This
surprisingly
guy.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Johann Faust. That was But yeah, so a lot of people do it. It was a famous Italian composer and violinist named Giuseppe Tartini. Excuse my American accent. Known for his sonatas, and he also had a very short temper, very fiery short temper, and a bit of an inferiority complex.
Sounds
So
like a
he
dude that
actually-
would make a deal with the devil. Just saying.
Kinda. Yeah.
A little bit.
I guess you're right. But yeah, he was always comparing himself to other musicians and completely obsessing over being the best violinist. He didn't want anybody to be better than him. And he actually ended up falling in spot. Sorry, that was another inferiority complex. Okay. He was so I lost my train of thought.
You're fine.
He spiraled down into this depression after hearing a violinist that was better than he was, and ended up becoming a recluse and like locking himself away in his house and practicing for over 12 hours a day. And he claimed that the devil actually visited him in a dream, told him that he could make him the most masterful violinist ever, and basically Tartini was like, prove it. And the devil rosined up his bow. It's funny if you know that song. Anyway, the devil picked up a violin and played a sonata, a completely new sonata, and never written before. And it was supposedly so beautiful, so perfect, amazing. When Tartini woke up, he still could hear it in his head, wrote everything he could remember down, and actually made it. It's actually his signature work. It's called The Devil's Trill. And I looked it up. It's actually pretty. I like it. I added it to my Spotify. The Devil's Trill.
The Devil's
it's very
Trill.
Nice. Yes, the Devil's Sonata, Devil's Trill. You'll find it if you look. It's very nice.
Oh, now I have to add it to my Spotify.
Apparently, it's not as good as it could be because he's still obsessed and drove himself crazy over not being able to play it as well as the devil did, and it drove him mad. Then there's a lot of violinists seem to have
a lot of musicians I've noticed. A lot of musicians.
Yeah. Because then we also have another violinist, Niccolo Paganini. They all sound like
this
food.
is the guy I was talking about.
I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, he does sound
Paganini?
like food.
Yeah.
I'm an Italian
Tartini,
lady.
Paganini.
It does sound like food.
I get kind of
like
hungry.
a good
All right.
pasta dish.
And I'm going to brief this one a little bit more, but he apparently, even by the age of 6, was so incredible and accomplished feats on the violin with people couldn't replicate. Other people just couldn't seem to do. It was all in his hands, his wrists, and the notes that he could master, I guess. People whispered, of course, that he also sold his soul, or that his
mom.
How horrible is that? Your mother sells your soul to the devil before you can even walk.
He actually claimed it too. He like encouraged it and claimed that his mother sold
he never
her soul
it.
to the devil for him.
And he never denied it. He became feared because of the way that he encouraged it.
Well, bit him in the butt when he died.
I would say when he died, the church wanted nothing to do with his body. Or anything about him. He didn't have a resting place for well over 35 years.
Wow.
Until the Pope decided that to give him rights. Yeah. So
over 36 years. Wow.
Over 30. Yeah. I said 35, but yeah, same thing.
I know Oliver Cromwell. He was another one that they say sold his soul to the devil, but he was like unsuccessful. This guy, he tried to sell his soul to the devil multiple times, and the devil was like, "I don't want you. I don't need you. I don't want you. I'm not making a deal with you."
What is that? The ultimate rejection is being rejected by the devil himself.
I suppose so. But
how is that going to make you feel?
He must have been a real bad person. I don't know. But anyway, when he finally reaches out to the devil last time, the devil is so annoyed with him that he just decides to consume his soul, and There's a huge storm that stretches out over the country, and people claim that they could hear Cromwell screaming from his quarters. And so, yeah, and Jim pulled up more modern artists and musicians that have been claimed to sold their soul to the devil. I don't know if that sentence was grammatically correct. But.
Sold there's I was gonna mention them later too. There's a whole list of people here. You have there's a 1477 witch, Antoine, I don't know, Rose, whatever, Bob Dylan, Oliver Cromwell, General Jonathan Moulton, Katy Perry, Jay-Z. JC apparently has a history with.
Sorry, go ahead.
With the Illuminati, I don't know, but I was gonna mention one of the most famous ones is actually King of the Delta Blues, right? Is that who you were going for next?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's talk about him because he has a really he has a lot to him.
He's been brought up in pop culture too recently. If you ever watched Supernatural, I don't know if you're a Supernatural fan, but
yeah.
But yes, American blues legend Robert Johnson, who
this is the biggest one.
Lived around 18. He supposedly just kind of disappeared for a while and then exploded onto the scene with sick talent, like just being crazy.
He was gone.
Crazy.
They didn't know where he went.
Yeah, but then when he came back, he's just crazy talented, really good.
Yep.
And the story is that no one really knows what happened, but apparently, he wandered across a.
You're right.
Wanders
you okay?
Across roads. I pulled a Renee. happens upon crossroads. There we go. And meets in Mississippi and meets the devil there, and which is a brief, account there. But also, some legends say that he met a very large, shadowy man, and the man took his guitar and tuned it for him. And then when he gave it back, he was very skilled at the guitar. And he was a master. So he did die a master. Yes. He died at the age of 27, which was really, really young. No one knows how he died. There's speculation, but it's just hearsay, rumors, not even any,
Yeah, they had no idea he had died. Like, this was something when I was reading, I thought was super messed up. He died so suddenly that, like, people just figured he stopped playing music, and they found his death certificate 30 years after he had died. So
30 years. It took them longer to find him dead than he lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember having this last stream we talked about Papa Legba and Crossroads, and actually some people believe that he sold his soul to Papa Legba.
I'll buy that. I mean, he's in Mississippi. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. He was a big influencer. I feel like I should try to explain that really quick. No one knows really how he died, but there was speculation that the boyfriend of a woman that he was getting flirty with poisoned him. And that was
speculation. I also heard that he had like a disease, but we won't get into that because we're trying to keep it PG. He had a disease. He had a naughty disease. That's that. Okay.
Oh. You mean from the same situation that okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's speculation that could have been going on as well. But just some of these lyrics in here. I mean, poor Bob, my soul is sinking down. You can run. I got the crossroad blues this morning, Lord. Babe, I'm sinking down. I looked east, I looked west, I went to the crossroad. That's just, I mean, it's crazy. He's clearly talking about the devil in there. So, I mean, and you were saying he has other indications that he was talking about the devil in his other music. So, all right. Any other input?
Yeah. A lot of the
What?
Yeah. Like the Crossroad Blues, what is it? The Devil in Me and Hellhound on My Trail are some of his songs. And also apparently he liked to practice while sitting on tombstones in the local cemetery. That was a thing that I read. That just in your
him and our haunted happening sender Matt should hang out.
Right.
Just a little. I'm just teasing, y'all know. Let's move on to our next story, which is about the haunted paintings and haunted art in general. This next story is about the Crying Boy and the Anguished Man. The Crying Boy is more of a cursed painting than I would say haunting. For those that don't know, the Crying Boy was a series of paintings done by artist Giovanni Bragolin. He's an Italian guy. Again, Italian dudes all through these stories tonight. He does. And this was a series of paintings in which several children were depicted with tears running down their face. It was very popular in the 1950s across the UK. And over 50,000 paintings were sold. I know. Who would want crying children? And they're very scary looking, I should mention. All throughout their house.
Orphans or something that were his.
Yes. He painted
orphans.
sad orphans. And people were like, "Wow, I've got to have that in my living room. That'd be great in my kitchen."
Look at that.
Yeah.
Right? I want to look at the sad crying boy while I cook.
One series, right? I want to stare into the eyes of a tearful orphan while I make some eggs. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. One painting of angelic-looking boys became known as, like, the Crying Boys. It was only the boys that became, like, super popular. And he made over, like, 6,000 paintings of them or whatnot. But anyways, in 1985... there is a terrible house fire in the UK. Is the home of May and Ron Hall, and everything in their house ends up getting burnt to ashes, except of course the Crying Boy painting. So it starts to get this really bad attachment to it. People say that the painting has to be cursed, that there's a spirit attached to it that made everything in the house burn down and only kept it intact. And this continued to happen after that fire in 1985 in the UK. These are just a couple of accounts that happened in the UK that people blamed on the Crying Boy. There was a woman in Surrey lost her house to a fire 6 months after buying the painting. 2 sisters in Kilburn had fires in their homes after buying a copy of the painting. One sister even claimed to have seen her painting swaying back and forth on the wall before the fire. A concerned woman on the Isle of Wight attempted to burn her painting without success and then went on to have a bad run of luck. A gentleman in Nottingham who had possessed a print of the painting lost his home in a fire and his family was injured. A pizza parlor, I can't say this. This is so hard to say. A pizza parlor in Norfolk, there we go, was destroyed, including every painting on its walls, except for, guess what, Dusty?
The Crying Boy.
Crying Boy. That's right. The reputation of the Crying Boy was tainted forever.
Did it, start the fires, or was it just lucky that people...
I think what people were getting at is that it was giving them bad luck, and therefore fire burning down their house was like the worst thing that could happen to them. Some claim that they would experience bad luck if they even tried to burn it or get rid of the painting. However, in 1985, a fire brigade allowed hundreds and hundreds of copies of the painting to be burned under their supervision on Halloween night. And so people brought hundreds and hundreds of these things and just lit them on fire. It's a fun little thing to do, and I bet all of those people got cursed. Many have tried to debunk...
letting a Ouija board on fire?
I guess. Honestly, I would not try either of those. I'm a very superstitious person. I don't mess with demons. I don't mess with ghosts. I just try to live my life and not get interfered with any of that. It's not my time, you know what I mean? The painting, people have tried to debunk the curse of the Crying Boy, but they've found that when they try to burn it with a single flame, meaning like taking a lighter or a match to it, that the painting simply will not burn. There's several videos of this on YouTube of people trying to do it, and it just not working. It's only when you engulf it fully in flames will it burn. So paintings that are similarly cursed would be that... What?
Apparently not, because if their whole house burned down...
I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was weird. I don't know. I guess some of them burn, some of them are real, some of them aren't. I don't know what the deal is with that. The next one, however, is super creepy. This one we looked at last night. We were both like, why would you even want that in your house? This is the painting of the Anguished Man. The artist is unknown. So basically, this guy named Sean Robertson, he gets a painting passed down to him from his grandmother. And it's called The Anguished Man. And she says to him, hey, I'm giving you this painting. I don't want it anymore. Weird things are happening in my house. The artist supposedly mixed his blood with the paint and then killed himself afterwards. Here you go,
We thought
grandson.
Van Gogh was bad.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
I don't want this. It's cursed. You can have it, though.
Here, dear
I'm bequeathing
grandson.
it to you.
The painting is so dangerous that to this very day, Sean has it locked in his attic, away from the public. Even though he's had people offer him upwards of like $5 million for the painting, he won't sell it. He says that he would rather know where the curse is and have it contained in his attic than pass it on to somebody else that might get scared and say, I don't want this anymore.
Better man than I am. Yeah.
Right. It is considered to be one of the top 5 haunted items in the world, next to the Dybbuk box and Annabelle the doll. Sean claimed that while they had the photo hung up in their house, faceless men would appear. Disembodied screams and cries of anguish would be heard. Strange fog would appear in his house, and other paranormal events, including, I hate this, what sounded like nail scratching on fabric, like trying to tear the canvas, as if somebody was trying to get out of the painting. So his wife eventually
tells him... If it looked like that, done.
I know, yeah. I would have been like, Grandma, why? Why?
So that has the artist's blood in it, you said?
Yeah. Yep, it has the artist's blood.
Who purchased this?
I don't know. I don't know where Grandma got her paintings. Grandma did some crazy stuff, evidently. So the Robinson's wife says, I don't want this painting in our house anymore. Do something with it. And he's like, but my poor sweet grandma gave it to me. And she said, well, then put it in the cellar or put it in the attic. So he locks it away in the attic. And soon after that, they start hearing footsteps, screaming, crying, the nails thing again. People started appearing at the foot of their beds and staring at them. It just really freaked them out. But Robinson never thought anything of it until their young son was walking down the stairs, and Sean, he was standing at the bottom waiting for his kid. And all of a sudden he saw his son jolt out forwards and fell down 6 steps. And the son claimed that he got pushed by something. Robinson thinks that he got pushed by the Anguished Man. And so just super creepy stuff.
Okay, that's a fair reason to be done with this painting. But how is he not done at the fact that men were standing over his bed at night? That's not what pushed him over the edge?
Can I tell you? That's my worst fear. I wake up every night when I want to get a drink of water or whatnot, and I will literally wake up and close my eyes and be like, if there's anybody here, please leave. I'm scared.
Living or dead?
Well, both. But
okay.
The next clip we're gonna
My grandmother once chased a man out of her house.
That's horrifying. I would be terrified. The next clip that we're going to show you is from Sean Robinson, and it is video evidence of his. I think he took it from the attic and put it in a room so he could videotape it, and he caught some really interesting paranormal evidence. Take a look at this clip. Coming up in just a second. But yes.
Yeah, that one.
Hey guys, look at these amazing do-it-yourself.
Nope. There's an ad. Yes.
Hey, that's kind of cool though. All right.
So there's the door. The Anguished Man is sitting on that table.
Scarier in the dark.
This I thought was interesting.
Case around it?
No, I think it's just leaning. I think it has a glossy finish on it. So this goes by really quick, but I'll tell you what that said. It said that shortly after they had to move the clip back upstairs and whatnot, that his wife felt her hair had like a stroke on it from a hand, and then she heard somebody whisper in her ear, and so she was really freaked out, and I guess they just locked it in the attic and all was good. So yeah, that is our haunted art segment. We're going to move on to our local story of the night, which involves a little bit of a murder mystery. Now, I know we're not a true crime live stream or whatnot like that, but this story does have some haunted sightings with it and is an unsolved murder to this very day. They think they know who did it, but he was acquitted, and so it's a little bit messy, this story, but this is the story of Athalia Ponzel Lindsley. We're going to pause that clip really quick.
It's also really strange having something like that so close to home. Like, I wasn't alive when it happened, but I know where it is.
Yeah, this is a video of the evidence. Yeah, it remains unsolved to this very day. So this is about Athalia Ponzel Lindsley, who was born in 1917 in Toledo, Ohio. She had a wonderful, successful career on Broadway. She was a chorus line dancer. She eventually was a host of a television show called Winner Takes All. She moves to St. John's County later in her life, and to St. Augustine, and she tries to run for both senator and a seat on the county commission. But she is not successful because turns out, and this isn't me saying this because I was born in the 90s, I was not around in the 70s and 50s and all that, but I've read that she was not a very kind lady, and so that not a lot of people enjoyed her company. But regardless, she marries the former mayor of St. Augustine, Jack Jinks Lindsley. And despite being married, they lived at completely separate homes. And just after 4 months of marriage, guess what? Athalia ends up hacked to death on her beautiful front doorstep. Yeah, it's pretty bad. This was between 5:30 and 6 o'clock on January 23rd, 1974. She was on her front porch and she was attacked by an assailant with a machete. She was hacked about 10 to 12 times. A couple of her fingers were severed. She was almost completely decapitated, and it was just pretty bloody and nasty, as you can imagine. This is in complete broad daylight. Dusti just disappeared for a second. Don't worry about that. You still have me. Hey, and she's back. It's like a disappearing magician. You're fine. So the only thing that was missing from her house, this was in complete broad daylight that this happened. There were people that must have seen something happened. And the only thing that they claimed that was missing from her house was her pet blue jay, whose cage was smashed. They never found the bird. They don't know what happened to the bird. Her neighbor got blamed for it. There was a teenage boy that heard some screaming and arguing going on, and when he looked out the window, he claimed that he saw Alan Stanford, her neighbor, attacking her. But he later said that he didn't know who it was because he only saw the back of him. There were blood trails that led to Stanford's house. But eventually, Stanford gets acquitted of the crime, and he walks free. There are other people that think that the husband could have done it, but there's not enough evidence to support that theory, and so it's kind of just a whodunit kind of situation. To this very day, in front of her house, and I won't tell you the address on stream just because there's people that currently live there, and I don't want to tell you their address on live stream, but it is public record. You could look it up. There's been books written about it and whatnot like that.
Do you think they know?
They have to know. Oh, they have to know. Come on. This story is so big in St. Augustine. BuzzFeed Unsolved. I love BuzzFeed Unsolved. Y'all know that. They actually, I saw, did a little spiel about this as well. So it's a very popular crime story. Ponzel's apparition is occasionally seen walking down Marine Street crying for help. They see a bloody apparition of a woman just in tears, sobbing as she walks down the street. They also claim to see her in her old mansion walking around in the living room with her hands behind her back. If she's not seen in her mansion, she is seen bloody sitting on her porch steps, just looking at the street, I guess just people watching. Now, this was something that I didn't know if I wanted to mention on the stream, but we had talked about this off stream just before, going live. They do also claim to see orbs and mists. And the reason that I didn't want to mention it is because with mists specifically, orbs are pretty cool. Orbs are like a low form of energy. They catch orbs there, but the mist thing is really hard outside. If you catch a mist outside, you really have to be aware of your surroundings. Seeing a funky mist on her house or a different colored mist, sure, people claim they see that a lot, but just like a foggy mist, it's close to the bayfront, it's hard to tell. So you really, when you're taking, this is just for general, anywhere you go to take ghost photos or ghost investigate, if you're outside and you catch a mist, please just make sure you're looking at the weather around you and that you're not actually just getting a mist coming in from the bayfront or whatnot like that. So that was all mist. A foggy mist. Dusti, anything
foggy mist that feels foggy.
Foggy mist that feels foggy. Anything you have to add for poor Athalia Ponzo Lindsley? Anything you want to say? This didn't happen that long ago. I mean, 1974.
Do you think that kid is still, the teenager, do you think he's still around?
Oh, yeah. He has to be. I mean, he's probably in his 50s or 60s now, but maybe not that old. Probably 50s, 40s, 50s. I don't know. Some of y'all are locals. Some of y'all know the story, so.
Just imagine watching that.
I can't imagine any of it. I can't imagine doing that to someone. Her friend, too, months after she had passed, 2 or 3 months after she passed away, her friend was like, oh, I'm not going to let, because people thought that there was a serial killer on the loose. This was an unsolved murder in a generally safe town, and they were afraid to go outside. Well, her friend, Frances Bemis, was like, I'm going to go walk anyway. And she was like a 70-year-old woman. And she ends up with her head bashed in a vacant lot on Bridge Street, which was pretty close to Marine Street. So they didn't blame Stanford for that, but they tried to. They had some evidence that was deemed unusable, and like they pulled it out of court because it's a bunch of wishy-washy stuff involved with it. But
so he apparently lives in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I saw that. Apparently he lives in Jacksonville and refuses to talk about it. All right, well, that was all we have for tonight, y'all. If you like our stream, please go ahead and give our page a like so you can watch us next week, or next stream, which is Tuesday at 8 p.m., where we'll be talking about some more ghoulish stories. You can go ahead and share this live stream so that your friends and families can watch. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Leave us your